Okay, I'd like to call the June meeting to order. We'll salute the flag, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're going to start this evening. We have a short presentation, but they are not here yet, so we're going to skip over that. Come back to that when they arrive. We'll move on to the approval of the prior town board meeting minutes. Move to approve.
I have a question. I saw when and maybe it was discussed before I got here, there was a couple of blanks. It looked like Mary was looking for information about where Jimmy was going to do the guardrails, and what the other one was. Oh, okay. Was on page 2.
Page 28.
At the bottom of page,
Highway, and highway,
yeah, under committee reports.
putting up guardrails on Pleasantville Road, among
Okay.
other things,
Okay,
with the chips on it.
okay, because one of the copy I had that was
Oh,
blank.
it's missing?
Yep. And then down below, under old business, Scenic Hudson was highlighted. I wanted probably to confirm that too. Under old business, right at the bottom of that same page.
Oh, on that page,
Yeah.
but under
Old business, the first bullet point.
BBC.
Just got
Oh,
this.
Scenic Hudson does have a landscape architect that could help us for the screening.
Okay. So since that was highlighted, I didn't know if that you were questioning that.
No, I didn't highlight it.
Okay, and when I printed it, it's
It
highlighted.
came out.
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Keep that down.
Other than that, I'm fine.
All right. We got a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, communications. You want to move on to your quick report?
Notice of public hearing and special meeting, Town of Livingston. Please take notice that the Town Board of the Town of Livingston will hold a public hearing on Monday, June 19th, 2017 at 6:45 p.m. at the Livingston Town Hall, 119 County Route 19, Livingston, New York, on proposed local law number 3 of the year 2017, which would amend the Livingston zoning law to prohibit new mines and mining in the LDR2 zone. Currently, mines and mining are permitted by special use in the LDR2 zone. All persons interested are invited to attend or to submit comments in writing to the Livingston Town Clerk. The public hearing is followed on the same date by a special meeting of the Town Board of the Town of Livingston at the Town Hall at 7 p.m. The special meeting will be on the same topic. A complete copy of the text of the proposed local law is available at the office of the Livingston Town Clerk during normal business hours. Dated 5/12. 2017, Tammy Walensky, Livingston Town Clerk. And from Red Hook School, pursuant to education law, please be advised that Dawn Morrison was re-elected to the Red Hook Central School District Board of Education for a 3-year term commencing on July 1st, 2017 and running through June 30th, 2020. Ms. Martin gives her address. If anybody needs it, I will give it to you later. Also elected for a 3-year term commencing on July 1st, 2017 and running through June 30th, 2020 was Jennifer Munn. I also have her address. Very truly yours, Alina Mescal, District Clerk. Pine Plains Central School District. The budget and all propositions passed. The members of the 2017-18 Pine Plains Board of Education will be the following. Fred Kaus, term ends 2019. However, he did pass away, so I don't know if they, or not, yeah, Fred. Is that? Maybe not. Anna Rent, term ends 2018. Amy Fredericks, term ends 2019. Joe Kiernan, term ends 2018. Heidi Johnson, term ends 2018. James Griffin, term ends 2020. Karen Orton, term ends 2020. Any questions regarding the vote or election, please contact me at the number listed below. Regards, Julia Watson Tomei, Personnel Assistant District Clerk, Pine Plains Central School District. Clermont Town Board, I respectfully request that the Town Board allow me, as a member of the American Planning Association and the APA New York Metro Chapter, the Small Town and Rural Division of the American Planning Association, and the American Institute of Certified Planners, to provide training activities to the Clermont Planning Board and the Zoning Board of Appeals if and when the training is requested by the chair of either board. Such training would be related to municipal planning, zoning, community design, environmental issues, economic development, and/or local government functions and practices. Further, as per Town Resolution Number 5 of 2007, further such training will be determined to meet the state training requirements for the board members. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Sincerely, Mary T. Howard. And to the Clermont Town Board, as per Town Resolution Number 5 of 2007, I respectfully request that the Town Board approve the attached list of certification maintenance sessions offered at the American Planning Association, National Planning Conference, and the American Planning Association New York Metro Chapter activities as meeting the state training requirements for me as a planning board member. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Sincerely, Mary T. Howard.
We will go back to that when we get to new business. Is that all you have for?
That's
review?
all I have, yes.
We'll go back to the clerk report.
Town Clerk's report for May 2017. Community house lease, $1,000. Zoning board application, special permit, $75. Interpretation, $100. Games of chance, $20. Dog licenses, $32.50. Building permits, $550. Certificates of occupancy, $100. Town clerk fees, vital statistics, $70. Decals, fishing license, $1.38. Community house donation for use, $100. Miscellaneous FOIL request, $12.25. Total for the general fund, $2,061.13. Trust and agency for escrow, $525. Total check for trust and agency, $525. Paid New York State Department of Ag and Markets, surcharges for dog licenses, $13. Paid New York State Comptroller for games of chance, $30. New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, $23.62. So the total for May was $2,652.75.
All right, motion to approve the clerk report.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Correspondence for the web committee. Does anybody have any questions, comments, requests for the web committee? Okay. Before we get into the committee reports, I just went back a little bit. We have a representative from the Environmental Management Council here tonight to do a quick presentation on some alternative energy possibilities, I believe. Mr. Arlick?
Yep.
I appreciate you coming in tonight. Thank you.
It'll be very quick. It's not actually a presentation.
Okay.
As you know, I'm your rep to the Environmental Management Council, but I'm also part of a group of Clermont residents who are very enthusiastic about the possibility of Clermont fulfilling some of these initiatives and qualifying for some grant money. We've determined that the four that are most likely, that Clermont could most likely qualify for would be benchmarking, energy code enforcement training, solarization, and adoption of a unified solar permit.
Ralph, can I just interrupt you for a second? It's that this will qualify us to become be designated a clean energy community, correct?
Right.
What do you mean by unified permit?
Well, let's get to that in a minute, because
Okay.
the person who can really answer those questions is here. It's, so anyway, we see this as a nonpartisan issue, regardless of what you think the future of carbon-based energy is. It seems to us that that this is the future, and we'd really like to see Clermont not only be able to qualify for some grant money, but to be a vanguard. And there are other towns and municipalities in Columbia County who are moving ahead with this. So we would be very happy if the board would get behind this and qualify for some of this money that's out there. So we'd like to hear from each of the members of the board as to what they think about it. And if you have questions as to how each of these 4 initiatives would work, Robin Reynolds is here again to explain the requirements that NYSERDA has and how you would qualify.
Okay, I know Dawn has looked into this a little bit and brought some of this information back to us, but the unified permitting, is that
The
the
unified
question?
sewer permit is the one that.
If you don't mind, we could
Yeah,
just,
oh,
just a quick
certainly,
rundown on the.
Absolutely, be happy to. So, the Unified Solar Permit is a permitting process that was created in a partnership between municipalities and solar installers to try and streamline a process so that municipalities are meeting obligations for state codes and installers have an easier way of navigating through different municipal permitting processes. So, it's a standard permitting template that the town has the authority to modify to make sure it meets the town's needs, and if the town adopts it, as Ralph was alluding to, there's the possibility that it qualifies the town for a $50,000 grant that's cost share free funding, but also a smaller grant through this program called the Streamlined Permitting Program of $2,500 with no strings attached. So that money can be used on anything and it comes immediately. So if the town elected to adopt this permit by July 28th, that's the deadline for the Streamlined Permitting Program, then it could access this cost share free funding, this $2,500 award, but then, in the future, potentially a $50,000 award. And this is something that, we kind of talked about, would definitely have to, be looked at by the code enforcement official as well as the planning board and the zoning board of appeals to make sure that it meets the town's needs. That's a brief explanation of that permitting process.
So this would be a change to the zoning code?
Not a change to the zoning code. The permit would have to be in alignment with their zoning code, or else, you wouldn't want
So
to.
this is the form that people fill out when they go to the, whatever the board they're going to.
Yep, precisely.
Yeah, we have a permitting process for solar. We made a couple of changes to it. For solar farms is different than individual solar.
Right.
And from what I've been told by our attorney, that we were one of the first ones in the county to do that. And
Sure.
other towns are looking at ours and kind of modeling after that.
Oh, excellent. Don had alluded that was the zoning code as opposed to like the permitting template, but the two could be in tandem. You could use the permit for, the updates to the zoning code. If that is appropriate and it's in alignment with what your standards are already.
Okay, you mind taking a question quick?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So it's my understanding that this is a fairly brief form that is standardized across counties throughout the state, so that when a developer wants to put solar in, the form that they need to fill out is the same as the one that they did in the county next door recently. And it's so it's not a matter of changing what our rules are, it's a matter of having sort of the checklist there. And I think right now we don't have a checklist that we would give to a solar developer, or an individual resident who wants to put solar on their roof. I have to go to John and ask him what I need to do, but there isn't anything that's kind of a standardized checklist, and I think that's what this sort of satisfies, right?
Correct,
So it
yeah.
kind of streamlines the process. It doesn't necessarily conflict with our rules.
It doesn't,
Yeah, absolutely.
thanks. We have very specific zoning rules,
Right,
okay? So we'd love to see the form.
yeah.
But with these grants, how would it benefit us? I mean, you said that we'd get some money.
Yeah.
So how would it benefit us and what would we have to do?
So you'd have to adopt the permit template, so you'd have to customize it, make sure again that it meets with your new zoning updates and it's appropriate for the town. And then, you would customize it, formally adopt it via, passing a resolution says we adopt this unified solar permit and here's the fee and all of that good stuff. But then the $2,500 that comes with the permit adoption can be used on anything. So it's really up to the local elected officials to use that money on something that benefits potentially the town residents or upgrades to facilities if they're fairly small. So because the money is really no strings attached, it's very flexible on what it can be used for.
Is there any way that we can get copies of this, the board
Certainly.
and the other committees?
Yep.
That you could just leave the form here?
Oh,
The
yeah.
zoning board of appeals, we would love to see it. I'm
Yeah.
sure all these people would love to see it. This
Yeah.
way we can expedite matters.
Absolutely. Yep.
So Robin, the bigger, if we were to meet the four, Ralph listed, those four initiatives, we would qualify for some money that could be in the $50,000 to $80,000 range.
Correct.
And we could use that for anything, or does it have to be for energy efficiency initiatives?
It has to be something that reduces the overall energy kind of consumption of the town. So it could be on town facilities if you want to kind of seal them up and make them more tight, or if you want to put solar panels on town facilities, or you want to kind of upgrade. Yep, heating, ventilation, air conditioning upgrades. A number of communities across the state have already kind of crossed the finish line. Your neighbor over in Red Hook recently became a clean energy community, and they're looking at doing a community-wide initiative. And some of the communities in the capital region have just kind of started to make their way across the finish line, and everyone's kind of using it on something that's most appropriate for their jurisdiction. So with some communities, it is capital improvements, just right in buildings. Other communities, it's community-wide initiatives like handing out LED light bulbs or something of that nature to make sure all the residents are saving money. But there's a lot of flexibility built into what this money can do.
I would like to see a copy of the unified form. So we can
Certainly.
take a look at it in detail.
Yeah.
And as I've mentioned in prior meetings, based on experiences in New York State in the past years and even some more recently, I'm very reluctant to get involved with anything that, the state thinks they're going to give us something, because
Sure.
usually they don't.
Sure.
And it puts us in eligible for funding. It doesn't mean we're going to get funding on that, correct?
Yep, so it is a first come, first served program, but there are still a number of funds available for communities who want to take advantage of them. So when I say like up to, it's only, if you kind of meet the program requirements and you cross the finish line, then you have access to that money. It's cost share free, so nothing has to be put up by the town. It's all kind of money that's given to you. I understand there are reservations, but it's cost share free funding, and there's 25% advance available upon commencement of the project. So like if you wanted to do an upgrade to town hall, you could get that money up front so that you're not kind of in a position where you're spending money that you don't have in your general municipal fund. So
And then after that, is it voucher and reimbursement?
yep, it's a reimbursement program, correct. So there is some flexibility there with that 25% advance, but there is that money available, and there will be kind of hopefully additional monies coming through the program with expended interest. So we're working towards some of those goals in the program right now.
And once you're eligible, is it, what would determine whether or not your project was approved or not?
Sure. So my organization, the Capital District Regional Planning Commission, which is just kind of a facilitator and a guidance, essentially, mechanism through this program, we provide kind of education on what opportunities there are through the program, like the Streamlined Permitting Program and other kind of related programs related to some of these actions that we're talking about. Well, we also provide project development assistance. So if there is something that would be a good fit or might meet this eligibility criteria that the state has spelled out for proposals that come in after you've kind of crossed the finish line, we try and match up projects that would score well. We can't make any promises, obviously, we're not the ones reviewing it at the state, but we try and figure out something that would fit on your end, something that would meet the requirements of the program. And basically, the proposal, there's a checklist, there's kind of criteria, and there's certain points associated with different criteria. but there's 100 points that are available, and it's almost like a pass-fail system. So if the town's proposal got 50 points, then they would pass along. And what we've heard so far is, the state wants to reward communities that have done, a good job and have crossed the finish line and completed these actions that are prescribed by the program. So, there's some flexibility in going back and forth to find a project that meets your needs and uses this money appropriately. So, there's definitely a lot of help that wants to get out there and be spread.
Okay. Yeah, if you can forward even an electronic version to
Sure.
the clerk or myself or both of us, and then we can spread it around to the zoning board, planning board, we can all review this
Absolutely.
application. We
Yeah.
can certainly take a look at that. As far as the other stuff goes, I mean, I think we did look at that briefly, I think some of the other, trying to qualify some of the other stuff, but.
When Ralph and I met back in the early part of the year, when we looked at there's 10 options, we're kind of limited by our size to the 4 that we have in front of us here. But I do think that we can, we have a good chance of meeting each of the 4. One that I was concerned about was after the Solarize project and that publicity of a educational session and everything, whether or not we could have 10 installs in our town based upon coming out of that. And I did speak with John, and in 2015 and 2016, we had, each year we had about 6 to 8 just rooftop installs. So, and that was with no cost incentive or anything. It's basically a group purchasing program. And it's this group that we might work with is out of the capital region. They're doing the whole capital region. I would think that would be pretty good cost, benefit to people who are signing up. I think we could meet 10. So that was one of the ones that I thought would be most difficult for us to reach. And I was, now that I've spoken to John and seen the data, I do think that we could get 10 installs out of that initiative.
All right. Mr. Arlick, if could you forward that form on to me? I know you have my email contact instead of,
Yes.
or forward it to her so she can send it to us. And we'll certainly sit around and take a look at it.
Sounds great.
All right?
I just want to emphasize that we do have Clermont residents who are ready to work on this, to help people. If the board wants to move forward on it, we have people who will work on this.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
I have a question I think we
Yes.
asked last time you were here, and I don't know if it was ever answered.
Sure.
Regarding the training for
Yeah. Town inspector?
yes, code enforcement.
Yep.
Are any of those
See,
training sessions qualified or no?
The training sessions that previously happened, if you sent the code enforcement officer to a classroom session, are not eligible because this is a very specific kind of training.
Okay.
It's almost, I think calling it a training is almost a misnomer because essentially what it is, it's like a service that's provided.
Okay.
So the code enforcement officer sends in plans. They're reviewed by a contractor that kind of specializes in the energy code. They give back recommendations. It's up to the town to take it or leave it. So it's almost like a staff supplement, if you will, as opposed to like a classroom training.
Yep, understood.
So any other trainings that have happened so far are not creditable, but and this hasn't been approved for continuing education credits yet. It's still being worked out with the Department of State.
Okay.
So it's almost like a supplement as opposed to a formal training.
Right.
But-
Okay. I just feel like, if there's a lot more clean energy options becoming available,
Right.
there may be also some other options for additional education and training in that area as well.
Precisely. Yep. Great.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And in that particular one, 2 other town officials would have to go, and that could be a member of the planning and zoning board too.
Okay.
That could qualify for that.
Yeah, I'd be happy to, since I'm on the planning board, I could serve as one of those people. And maybe Mary would be interested.
I'm getting volunteered for a lot of things tonight.
Okay, that's excellent. I appreciate it. Thank you very much for
Thank
coming
you.
in.
Thanks for your time.
I'll certainly, I'll look forward to the email. We'll spread that around as soon as I receive it, and we'll have everybody take a look at it.
Great. Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Arlick. Okay, let's move on to committee reports. Bob?
Yeah, a few items. With the remediation, the people have finished what they thought they were supposed to do. We are not totally happy with with the work they did on the roadway and the water that's been going across it. I think we need to do a little work on that, but at this point, the grass is starting to grow, and they never did mulch it, we were supposed to mulch it. But it is growing in. I think they're supposed to mow it the first time. I understand, but I'm not sure when they're going to do that. There's still some work to be done on the softball field. We're still waiting for the play. I know Ray's been working very hard to get them to get that up to us, and they had problems because they said process because of the rain, they didn't have a truck, and I don't know what other excuses, but
Several.
there is some more work to be done, and I think Ray mentioned earlier also that we're going to try and get another meeting with the DEC to try and get it buttoned up.
Correct. I'll go over that on the old business.
Okay. The Board of Assessment Review did meet this past Tuesday, and we're supposed to have 5 members. They had 4. We appointed a new member at our last meeting, and she did go to the training, but did not, went off to Spain, so she wasn't at the BAR. So they did have 4 members, so there was more than a quorum. And you only had 1 applicant, plus 5 stipulations with the assessor that they had to approve. So that went fairly well, and they got out pretty early, as opposed to some of the times that I remember when we went past midnight and got a second night. So Mary was there, and had a good night. We also mentioned last month Teeter Lane. It's actually is a private driveway, and the town has been maintaining it for quite a number of years. And we passed a resolution to abandon, or to have the county highway superintendent hold a hearing. And that hearing was held, and he agreed that it's a private driveway and we should not be continuing to maintain it. I think we have a resolution coming up on that a little bit later. That hearing was attended by 4 of the board members, the highway superintendent from Clermont, obviously the highway superintendent from the county, and the assistant attorney for the county, and the attorney for the town made the presentation, and he approved what we want to do, and there was no opposition. We'll finish up with that a little bit later. And the final thing I have is that we've been talking about a tractor. Jimmy did get a accepted bid on the tractor. It's going to cost us just a little over $12,000 instead of $75,000 for a new one. It's a used tractor coming from Johnstown, and I presume we'll pass that resolution tonight to pay for that. And the check will go out, and they'll pick it up soon, and we'll have it. We did budget $25,000 for possibility of a used tractor, which is better than $75,000 or so for a new one. And we're going to get one that Jimmy actually went up and looked at it, so it's not buying something unseen. And it should be here within a couple of weeks. That's it.
All right, thank you, Bob. Evan, you have anything for the?
Yeah, I guess the only thing, and just realized this recently, was the town clerk's email address used to be at valstar.net, now it's at detail.net, and we just noticed today actually that emails that go to the old address would be bouncing rather than being forwarded over to the new address. So if you use the contact form, or you sent an email in the last, I don't know exactly when it changed over, you might want to resend that, and I'll be updating the contact form so that emails go to the correct address.
Perfect. Okay. We haven't had any other issues with the
Things have been
Everything's
smooth
been good?
since then,
All right, good.
I've gotten a couple emails where people are trying to get us to add links to our site, to their site, but they just want free advertising, I think, out of our area.
Okay. All right, well, no other problems, that's good. All right, thank you. Chris? Anything?
No, but if I could give a shout out about the Red Hook Soccer League.
Absolutely, yeah.
The girls U18 bracket on the Red Hook Soccer League took the championship of the Eastern New York State yesterday, and they will be moving on to, well, their next game is going to be in Virginia now. And they'll be represented, it'll be at a state level at that point. But I just mention it because there are team members and people who have also guest played and helped on the team in the Clermont community. So I just wanted to give that little shout out, which goes along with our park and possibly a soccer field in the future.
Give your daughter a plug, because your daughter's on the team. Come on.
I wasn't going to do it, but thank you. Yes,
Congratulations, and what I know, congratulations, that's
The other
fantastic.
supporters sitting on the board also.
you did.
right?
Yes, we do.
It's excellent. Okay, Dawn.
I'll just update you on some things, some grants. I announced that in mid-April, we were notified by the Bank of Greene County that we would be receiving a $500 grant towards the field. And at that point, the letter said they would be in contact with us about when they were going to give us the check. I saw something in the paper about a week ago that a lot of organizations were, it looked as, from the article about a week or two ago, received their checks at the Greenport branch. So I'm going to be following up and see where our money is. Because typically what happens is you have to apply by January 15th. They notify you mid-April, and then you don't get the money until the summer. So I was very surprised when I saw that newspaper article and our name was listed there. So I will see where our money is on that one. I also was following up with a woman at the Iroquois Communities grant program, and I had asked her a question about 2 different uses of that money. And you can apply twice a year for up to $10,000, or there's 2 opportunities during the year to apply for $10,000. And one I asked about was if any of the money could be applied towards our roof project here, and she said no, that would be considered a capital project, and that's not something they fund. The other I did ask her about was phase 2 of the Hetling Park, and she did say that was something that would qualify. We could do it in a phased program, but if we did it in a phased approach, it would need to be completed within 1 year. But she suggested that we apply in November and outline it, that possibly screening, depending upon how we finesse the words, possibly some of the screening that we're talking about putting in there could be integrated into this and pay for that. So that was one. And then I also am looking at one other grant from DEC that could possibly also be used towards that park. It talks about kind of vague language. Planning for conservation and stewardship of natural scenery and natural vistas. So that grant is due July 12th, I believe it is. And and I will continue to look at that. In order to apply for that, we need to become a registered vendor and have access through this grant portal that the state is now doing. A lot more and more, all the grants have to be submitted through this portal. So I'll be, regardless of whether we move forward with this particular grant or not, I will get us registered and all set up so that we can do that going forward. My concern with this is that it's due July 12th and that we don't really have any kind of plan for what we're doing. So I will need some kind of a plan.
So we're early for that one.
Right, so, maybe we don't, I know I'll register us and get us all set up so that going forward, we can apply for any of these grants, but maybe we concentrate more on the one in November where we have time to lay out a detailed plan and get a budget.
That makes sense. Absolutely. Okay, thank you. Perfect segue to lead into that. An old business DEC update. We're switching gears to trying to finish up the project as it is. We still have some concerns on some stuff that needs to be done, obviously. I'm real happy with the way the road turned out, with some of the drainage issues, and the fact that we've been, this past month, I've been going back and forth between the contractor, DEC, and the person providing clay for the ball field, having a hard time with the weather to actually process the clay from Jersey, dry enough to transport up here. and it's just been dragging on and on and on. We're still due over a full load plus a little more. We bring the rest of the clay up here to spread it out, and the contractor has pulled his equipment out of here because he couldn't sit around waiting longer. So what comes up now is going to have to be put in by our guys because they couldn't sit here forever waiting for the clay to be delivered. So I spent a lot of time this month working back and forth with all these guys, and I apologize because I was late getting a hold of Scenic Hudson, which I said we were going to do last month. I did contact Scenic Hudson on Friday, spoke to Laura, which is the head of the Parks Division. She said she'd get back to me Monday or Tuesday. She didn't get back to me today, so I don't have an answer from them. But what I asked her on the phone was, you know, would you be able to help the town set up some kind of design work for the park, nature trail, screening? She says, sounds absolutely like something we could help you with. We'd be glad to call you back and talk to you about it. So I am going to obviously speak with her the next day or two, set up a meeting with them, get them involved, give them show them a map of what we have, and tell them about what we need to do with the screening, what we want to do as far as the walking trail parks, you know, and see what they can do for us to help us out and try to design this. So moving forward, we will have them involved and hopefully helping us get this underway. We have been working on, as Dawn said, grant work, trying to raise some money for screening, and it is going to be something we're going to be addressing. I know we keep saying we're doing what we're doing, but we are working on it, and it is coming, so it's not being forgotten. But we are working on it. The park will not be operational this year, so there's not going to be anybody playing games. The ball field's not going to be, you know, it might be installed, but it's not going to be functionable. We're not going to want a lot of traffic on the field this year because of the grass, so the screening will happen hopefully this fall and be in place for the spring before anything happens next year. But again, we'll see how much money is available and what we can do to provide that. The only other thing is I'm waiting for the DEC to get back to me to set up a final meeting. They want to go through a punch list, and obviously Bob has expressed some concerns. I have some concerns we're going to talk to him about. You know, what we're not happy with, go through what's left to do, what they think they're done with, and what we think they're done with. But I was hoping it would happen this week. He didn't set up the meeting, so apparently it'll probably be the following week. But that will be, should be one of the later meetings that we'll have. We'll go over the details of what needs to be finished on a lot of these issues once we get the details.
I was just going to say, since equipment's left the field, I've noticed that the barrier's not back up across the road there.
No, we haven't had the barrier up because the guy's been delivering sand here and there. So he's been bringing it on schedule, let's put it that way, and dropping it when he can get it here. And like I said, we're still waiting for a few loads, so we haven't put a barrier back up. Yeah, we'll cross that bridge once we get the final load in there. Moving on, the tractor purchase, Bob basically summed it up. Jimmy, the superintendent, found a used tractor, which is a great deal. It's saving us a ton of money. It is an older tractor, but he looked at it, he said it's in good shape. It has the mowing equipment he needs. He's very happy with it for the price. He says even if he has to put a little bit of money in to fix a few little things, minor things, it's well under what we budgeted for a used tractor. Feels he can get several years of use out of this, and obviously a new one we've talked about was $75,000. So I'm thrilled that he found something he's happy with and he can work with and saves everybody quite a bit of money. So the purchase of that piece of equipment is in the abstract for tonight, which we've signed. Once we purchase it or signed a check, he'll send it to the auction facility. It is in Johnstown. He has made arrangements to have somebody pick it up and bring it here. So next month we probably will have a bill for $100 or $150, whatever the transport was to go get it, which is minor because he's worked out a deal with somebody to give us a good deal on. So very happy about that as well because it was like a $400 or $500 delivery if we wanted through the company. So saved us money there as well. So we should be seeing that probably by the next week. We should have it on promise. Mortgage tax, just an update. We received our mortgage tax in the county. Semi-annual check came in at $26,133.88, a little higher than we anticipated, which is great. You know, we budgeted $40,000 for the year, so we're a little over half of what we expected. Which puts us in a good position for the last payment for hopefully just over budget with revenues. Obviously, we'll see what happens in December, but that's a good start. That's about it. New business, town hall roof. Last month we opened up bids for the roof replacement of the town hall. We had 4 bids, and what I did is we took the 2 lowest bidders. I wanted to really compare these, look at these, make sure we had apples to apples price for exactly what we're looking for. The lowest bidder, I noticed in comparing them, did not have a couple of the details in that I put into the specs. So I spoke to that individual, I think it was the day after the meeting, before our meeting was televised, so we didn't know what the other prices were. And I asked him what would be to include what we did, that he didn't include in his original estimate. One was putting ice and water shield on the entire roof, which he only anticipated putting tar paper on. He priced it with tar paper. And the second thing was tearing off the wood siding on the back corner, flashing behind it, replacing with new siding, painting it, and sealing it. So with those 2 additions to his original bid, it was an extra $2,000. So his bid was originally $12,750. Add the 2,000, it's $14,750 total for all the work that we wanted done and spec. The next closest bid was $18,900, so it's still well below $4,150, well below the second bidder in line. So with that adjustment, I feel that that's exactly what we wanted, what we spec'd, and what we should go with if we decide to go with the roof replacement. We can have a discussion on that right now because this is an item that we did not budget. It really does not affect anything other than paperwork. If we were to budget for next year, we'd be budgeting out of the fund balance, which really doesn't affect taxes. If we do it this year, we're going to amend it to take it out of fund balance. Again, it's not going to affect anybody's taxes. So it really is not an issue as far as if we do it now or then. We have had several shingles blowing off in the past. As of recently, more than usual, I guess a few. The roof is old, it's aged, it's brittle. We do not have any leaks, but it's just an issue we want to push. So the question is, do we want to proceed with it now, or do we want to wait until next year and budget through the regular cycle?
Just a quick question. The roof work on the community house, is that complete? Or is there something that we still have left to do?
The roof on the community house.
Yeah.
That was.
Yeah, maybe it was just around what's the name of it?
There was a leak there
The
on the
leak was solved, correct? There's no leaks
Okay.
there anymore.
So that, well,
We assisted up the joists in the attic. Remember there was a problem with that.
right.
I don't know what other roof work you're talking about, but
I think that was probably it.
There was something in the cupola, and I forget what we did for that, but I haven't seen a leak there for a long time.
That's what, I was thinking there was something around, I don't know what that was.
it was addressed, I believe it was, I don't know, it was last year or the year before, but it was addressed. I don't know of any other that were pending.
That's the only reason to bring it up, because if we're looking at the roof here, then I'm just curious to know if there's something that is left open that we still need to spend on that community house. So I'm just curious to know.
I think that,
I'm not aware of it, no.
Okay. Okay, that was all.
as far as the roof here, if you look up on this side, on the south side, you'll see where there's probably at least a half a dozen shingles, the pieces are blown off.
Yeah.
And the last one that I saw on the ground, I picked it up, so it's just kind of moved to the side, because I wanted Ray to see, the pieces blown off, and it kind of broke in my hands. That's what Ray mentioned, they're brittle. And I'm afraid that, as Ray said, it may not leak, it may go till next year.
Right.
But being that the shingles are brittle and that they're already blown off, if we get a real tough winter,
Right.
wait until next summer, we could end up with a leak.
Right.
And so I would like to see us go ahead and do it this year.
Could I ask, I just was curious, how do you select the shingle in terms of the age of the property, the building? I mean, is it
What I
just
spec
replacing what's there?
I
or-
spec the architectural shingles which would match the church, since we did the
Great.
church last year.
Great.
So, is there any other concerns? Does anybody want to make a motion to
I'll make
do
a
this
motion.
this year?
Second.
So we have a motion and a second, just so everybody knows, to refresh everybody, it's Jennings contract.
Yeah, the motion should also pick the bidder, right, which is obvious.
For Jennings contract, award the bid to Jennings contractor is the lowest bidder at the total price of $14,750.
To be done this year.
To be done this year.
So moved.
Have a motion, second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I'm going to recuse myself.
Who made the second?
Borough.
Okay. We have, again, Bob went over this a little bit, we talked about a little bit about Teeter Lane. We have a resolution for the abandonment of Teeter Lane. It's basically a private driveway. I'm going to ask Mary to read the resolution. We did go through the formal process. We had the highway superintendent, which held the public hearing and deemed it to be worthy of abandonment by the town. County highway superintendent, sorry. So we do have a resolution here to do that. I'm going to have Mary just read that, please.
Town of Clermont, Resolution Number 44 of 2017. At a regular meeting of the Town Board for the Town of Clermont, Columbia County, New York, duly held on the 5th day of June 2017 at the Town of Clermont Town Hall, 1795 Route 9, Clermont, New York, the following resolution was proposed. Whereas Highway Law 205, Section 2, provides for the discontinuance and abandonment of a portion of the town highway where it appears to the town highway superintendent, the town board, and the county highway superintendent that a town highway has been usually traveled along the greater part thereof by no more than 2 vehicles daily for the previous 2 years. And whereas pursuant to the resolution of the Clermont Town Board on April 6, 2017, the town of Clermont resolved to proceed with the qualified abandonment of Teeter Lane. And whereas pursuant to the foregoing, a public hearing was duly noticed and held before the Columbia County Highway Superintendent on May 25, 2017 at the Clermont Town Hall to determine whether the proposed qualified abandonment of Teeter Lane is proper and in accordance with Highway Law Number 205. And whereas pursuant to the aforesaid public hearing, the Columbia County Highway Superintendent issued an order on May 25, 2017, authorizing the qualified abandonment of Teeter Lane from its intersection with Lasher Road, finding that said qualified abandonment would be appropriate pursuant to Highway Law 205, Section 2, and that no undue hardship would be created thereby. Now therefore be it resolved that the town of Clermont does hereby consent to the qualified abandonment of Teeter Lane from its intersection with Lasher Road, as more particularly set forth in Schedule A description attached hereto, pursuant to Highway Law Number 205, and be it further resolved that the qualified abandonment of Teeter Lane is a Type 2 action under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, SECRA, and the Clermont Town Board hereby determines that this action does not pose a significant potential environmental impact and may proceed as a Type 2 action in accordance with 6 NRCR Part 617 of SECRA, and be it further resolved that the qualified abandonment of the section of the Teeter Lane described herein shall be deemed to have been so discontinued and abandoned pursuant to Highway Law 205. And be it further resolved that the town of Clermont Highway Superintendent is hereby authorized to file a certificate of qualified abandonment for said section of Teeter Lane with the Clermont Town Clerk. That's it.
Thank you, Mary. So, we have a motion to pass the resolution.
So move. Second.
Move, second. Any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Thank you, Mary. Now we have Mary Howard. She's looking we just received a letter this evening asking us to recognize the qualified credits for Mary Howard, which is more than sufficient as far as what we consider for training. I certainly had no issue with that. I'd like to
move to approve that.
So, what are we approving here? It's a recognition?
Recognition of the credits that she already has instead of Mary.
Would you like to?
What? Yeah. what is it?
Okay.
Requires
To maintain my certification as a certified planner with the American Institute of Certified Planners and the American Planning Association, I have to do 32 certificate maintenance hours every 2-year period. The state requires a certain number of hours as well as a planning board or zoning board member. And what I'm asking is that since the resolution that I cite allows training provided by APA or the New York Metro chapter of APA or several other organizations as qualifying as instructors, and that these credits that are from APA events act as my state required hours.
We recognize that, yes. So, I have absolutely no problem with that. I would think,
I'll make the motion.
second. Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
That was Bob and Evan.
No, actually,
Oh, it was
they
Dawn?
got it ahead of me.
And the second request.
On the second one, I think that's a good idea to have Mary do some training, and we can have it done local, and those hours that she provides should be made acceptable to fulfill the 4-hour per month requirement. I would, however, like to see a little bit of an outline of what would be included in that, and then as the liaison to the planning and zoning board, I'd like to, take an opportunity maybe to talk to Mary a little bit and have that.
As I said in there, it's at the request of the chair of either of the boards, so whatever they determine they want to have training for, I would certainly be happy to work on any of it. I have resources available to me from the national level and the New York Metro chapter, and also access to the Department of State information. So I'd be able to tailor something that's related to Clermont, but covering.
But rather than just at the request of those two chairmen, I'd like to make it at the request of the town board with coordination with them. I mean, I think it's a good idea to have it done.
Personally, I think it would be crazy not to take advantage of such a resource that we have with our own laps here. So absolutely, I would like to proceed with that, approve this, and work out the details with, what the planning board and zoning board would like, and what she would do, I'm sure.
Just another question, the training that you can do, would any of that apply as credits for like a building inspector? Or is it?
No,
Okay. I know there's
no.
sometimes some zoning.
Sometimes there's overlap,
Yeah.
but we would have to go through a process with the Board of Education. And quite honestly,
Yeah.
I'm willing to put in some hours, but not that many.
Anybody else have any questions on that, or would the motion approve that as well?
So we'll,
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Thank you.
I'm
Mary.
sorry, what was that last motion on?
Yeah.
I thought we did.
To approve her, to provide training to the zoning or planning board, if, as requested
The first was that to
and
use,
that training would be acceptable for the 4 hours.
for the 4-hour credits for the year.
and then the first one by Dawn and Evan was,
That
That you
was to
accept
accept
my
her
training.
credits that she has for the training credits.
okay. Sorry,
Come on, Mary.
you gotta give me the wording. All right,
All right.
now, this one, who did the last one, I'm sorry.
Bob made the motion, I second.
Okay.
Okay, we'll move on to supervisor report. Just a few things, I just wanted to thank a few people. I want to thank the bar members for their attendance to the meeting. At least it was a quick and easy meeting compared to some that we've had, but again, thank you for the members to take care of that for us. I want to thank the highway superintendent, Jimmy Potts, for his persistent work on finding a tractor to save us, the town, taxpayers, a lot of money. So he spent several hours, went and saw quite a few different tractors, and he did a lot of homework on trying to find a tractor. He was almost to the point where he didn't think he was going to find one, but he did. And I just want to thank him for his effort on that, because that, again, saved us a lot of money.
And just a note on that, there were some others that were bid on that he looked at that were going up into the $20,000 to $30,000. This one, he looked at it, was a good tractor. quite a bit cheaper.
And the only other thing I just want to mention for him as well, thank him, is I should realize this, I didn't realize this at the public hearing. I asked the highway superintendent for the county if he would fix our historical signs that were broke off when they were plowing this year. And I didn't realize that Jimmy actually already did it. He took them and fixed them, welded them, painted them, put them back up. I know Donuts looked at and trying to put in for new ones, but it was going to take several months. But they are put back together, put back up. I know they are a little brittle, but they're standing and they look good. So again, I want to thank you for taking care of that for us without me asking them.
Yeah, I did see those. I didn't know how they were done, so.
He welded them, fixed them, put them back up, so.
It's great.
Other than that, I don't really have much to talk about in the county. It's not a whole lot of earth-shattering news up there. If anybody has any questions, please contact me. Just come see me. I'll be glad to go over any topics that are going on that I can help with. That's about it. Move on to motion to pay abstracts and we'll get to public comments.
Make a motion that we pay highway abstract number 6, vouchers 48 through 66 for the amount of $80,908.51.
Ouch.
Big one.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Who seconded it?
Yeah,
Did you second?
I believe I did.
Bob? I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
You got it. I motion that we pay general abstract number 6, vouchers 145 through 177, in a total of $11,993.61.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
By the way, just in case anybody's wondering why there's so much money in the highway this year, it's because we paid for paving,
Right.
much of which is, the CHIPS money that we get from the state helps to pay for a lot of that. That was $60,000.
Yeah, that was one.
I make a motion that we pay trusted agency abstract number 5, vouchers number 11 through 15, in the amount of $2,799.73.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, public communications, comments to the board.
So obviously we're here to talk about screening, which sounds like you guys are doing your due diligence on grants and stuff like that, so we appreciate that. We just ask you to keep it up, because obviously this year's not going to be used, which we know, but before we know it's going to be next year, we want to make sure we stay involved with that. I know we talked about the clay deliveries and stuff like that. It comes from New Jersey, and I really don't know why or really care, whatever it is. The only concern I have is that a couple of times they've come at literally 12:55 in the morning, and 1:10 in the morning one time. So I went and had a word with him, cordially, and spoke with him and told him that that's kind of not acceptable. I understand 7 in the morning doing work, whatever it may be, but 1 in the morning dumping a clutch on a dump truck to bang out the back kind of woke us up a little bit and startled us. I mean, I don't think I'm being too much with that. If you have contact with them, just ask them to, I know they're obviously making a haul from Jersey, but 1 a.m. is kind of a little pushing it.
I have to agree with you. I was unaware it was that late.
Yeah, I have pictures and stuff like that. I hope you take my word on it. I went and spoke with the guy. When he said he's come from New Jersey, I was kind of like, what? You know, even if you left at whatever time, 1 o'clock in the morning, I don't know how long you're driving, but just wanted to point that out. So.
All right. Well, I certainly apologize for that. I was unaware of that. We've been having a hard time.
Yeah, that's why I was going to make sure, obviously, you said you're having contact with him, so I just maybe, I don't think that guy's going to come back again after I had nice words with him, but just in case someone else is coming, just.
Yeah, I've been kind of watching there and seeing, every time I see a load there, but I didn't know what time it, I mean, the only one I actually saw getting dumped was the trailer truck load that came in a month or more ago, and it was during the day. Some of the little ones.
Well, May 12th at 12:35 a.m. was the first one I noticed. I was actually just getting home from work, so I wasn't woken up by that one, but then it was May 14th, which was technically a Sunday, and that one did wake us up. It was literally 12:55 a.m., which I have the photos and stuff. But,
Yeah, that's not right.
they don't have their own trucks, right? They just, because the guy that dumped the trailer truck load said
Hired
he was in Pennsylvania, and I think he was looking for a load of something, whatever, to bring back with him. He was going to Connecticut. And somehow, they must have something on the internet, and he wasn't.
Why are they bringing it from so far out?
Believe it or not, that's the only place to buy it.
It's the clay, like that yellow clay is down in Jersey, so that's why.
This guy, you know, he just went from Pennsylvania to Jersey to get loaded up and brought it up here and then went home to Connecticut.
No, I mean, it doesn't matter, one contract is not acceptable.
All right, thank you.
Again, I apologize for that.
Okay, any other comments, questions? If not, we are done with town business. We do have to take an executive session quickly to discuss a personnel matter. We will not be conducting any business after that when we reconvene. So, make a motion, in executive session.
Hello?
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Who was it?
Chris and Evan?
Jared?